my mans, and let me do this right.
All right, so I'm going to give you guys a card by card breakdown like I always do. I'm actually this time going to go over some specific highlighted props and maybe some parlays that I like. And then at the very end, I got something special for you, a special parlay that we're going to just put the house on. All right, so first fight breakdown, we have Quaylen Salkal, who you guys remember we tailed on Dana White Contender Series, and he's fighting Anshul Jubli. Anshul Jubli is the first fighter to ever join the UFC to come out of India. There's one other fighter now from India in the women's division. Jubli looked pretty decent his last fight, but he ran out of gas real quick, and he just got outdogged in the third round, and he got finished. Quaylen Salkal, on the other hand, much more well-rounded. He's going to have a lot of height on Chubli. It's hard to be in India because there's not a lot of facilities to train MMA, where Salkal is surrounded by quality teammates and training partners. He should be a pretty big favorite in this fight. I don't really think much on this fight is worth touching. It's kind of hard to predict if it'll go a long time, if it'll be a quick finish. If you're going to touch anything on this fight, put a tiny sprinkle on Jubli as the underdog. He is 7-1. He does have pretty decent striking. He could get it done. But personally, I'll be abstaining from any bets on this fight. But we'll make the official prediction for Quaylen to get the win. Next fight's very interesting. Kevin Jousset versus Jonathan Mikalev. So Jonathan Mikalev's a pretty decent grappler. He's got good wrestling. Guy looks like he's sliced beyond sliced. Looks like he's on that juicy juice. But, I mean, his conditioning is insane. Kevin Jousset, on the other hand, trains out of the City Kickboxing. You can see his striking style is very similar to Israel Adesanya. Lots of feints. He likes to shift his hip a lot, pretend like he's about to throw a kick. Had a pretty good UFC career going, but coming off of a tough loss to Brian Battle. But that's Brian Battle. Brian Battle's a dog. And he also has really good judo. A lot of people don't know that about him. He's got a pretty extensive judo background, and we see him use that hip toss a lot of times from the clinch in his fights. And he's able to get pretty commandeering top position from there. I like Jousset. I don't love the odds on him, but I do like him to win this fight. I think he's about a minus 250 right now. I will probably be using him sparingly as a parlay piece. There's not really much else for this fight. Most likely he's going to win a decision, but, Mikalev's wrestling could prove to be too much for Jousset. If he gets into the ground, the City Kickboxing guys, they have good takedown defense. They don't really have good game off their back. And even if he doesn't, there's just no telling how this goes on the feet. So I would say use Kevin Jousset's money line sparingly as a parlay piece. But yeah, this is a tougher fight to call. Let's move on to the next fight. We have Zhu Rong versus Cody Steele. Cody Steele, the real deal, baby. I love Cody Steele. Cody Steele was a guy who came up on the UFC Apex Grappling Series. He was one of the best contenders on there. He switched over to MMA now. He's 7-0. He's actually been mostly striking in his MMA fights. We definitely have seen some ground exchanges out of him. We've seen really, really good boxing. He's got a hell of a chin, hell of a physique. He's got a lot of power, and he's really, really good at putting a lot of pressure on his opponents and backing them up into the wall. And he's good at the MMA part too. He's very good at mixing it up. I would say at this point he's even shown elite ability to use strikes to set up takedowns. In that very specific aspect of MMA, he's one of the elites. Zhu Rong, on the other hand, very good striker. A lot to be desired in the grappling department. A little bit undersized for the division. Pretty extensive professional experience. It's 25-6. But a lot of that is pretty low-level competition on his regional circuit. I think Cody Steele should handily win this one. I will be using him as a parlay piece in a few of my parlays. He was about a minus 230, minus 240 last time I checked. I'm extremely confident in Cody Steele getting a win. Not quite sure how, but move forward with Cody Steele money line with confidence. All right, that cuts the early prelims. Let's take a look at these prelim fights. We did have a couple fights get canceled. Starting off the prelims, really, really exciting fight. I've been saying Colby Thickness all week, partially because I thought it was funny, partially because I thought that's how his name was pronounced. But it's actually Colby Thickness. And he's going to be fighting Alexandre Topuria. And if you recognize that last name, that's because this is the brother of UFC featherweight champion Ilia Topuria. Alexandre Topuria is 5-1 right now in his MMA career. Colby Thickness is 7-0. They're both pretty almost identical as far as physical stature. There is going to be a 1 inch reach advantage on the side of Thickenese. And both of these guys have faced, let's be polite and call it subpar competition up to this point in their careers. It's a really hard fight to call. This is also technically the rematch of Ilya versus Volk. They're going to be cornering the respective fighters. So that's been a big trending thing on social media. I am going to sparingly use Alexandre Topuria as a parlay piece. The Georgian grappling has been really impressing me. For him to be one of the people involved in producing Ilya Topuria, I'll use that as a bias and just assume that he has, to some degree, the talent of his brother, even though, didn't go so well for me the first time I bet on Herbert Burns, but let's see if it works better this time around. And, I was watching tape on Kobe Thickenese, and he has decent striking, but his grappling was just really, really unimpressive. And I just see that as a path to victory for Topuria. So, again, we're going to use Topuria very sparingly as a parlay piece. This is a risky pick, and the odds are not great. But I think as a parlay piece, money line, there is some use there. All right, next fight. I'm going to get a lot of hate for this one. I did last time, and I was right. So let's see if we can go 2 for 2 on this one. Wang Kong, in my opinion, one of the most overhyped UFC prospects to ever enter the UFC, fighting Bruno Brazil. Is Wang Kong striking elite? Oh, you making that face at me? What? She knocked out Victoria Leonardo, so now we're all going to go crazy for Wang Kong? Listen, you can make that face all you want, King, but we picked last time around Fernandez at plus 3,200 for a submission prop, and that was still on this channel the biggest submission prop that we've ever hit. So I'm going to go for it again. Bruno Brazil trains out of an excellent gym, the Fighting Nerds. They produce phenomenal strikers. She's a phenomenal, she's a good grappler. She's not a phenomenal grappler. That's not fair. She's a good grappler. She's going to be better than Wang Kong in the grappling department. If this fight goes to the floor, she has a reasonable chance at a submission. And at plus 1,400, I'm willing to find out. So my prop for this fight is, and this is a long shot, it's a very good chance that Wang Kong knocks her out or wins a decision. And there's a good chance that Bruno Brazil implements some wrestling or some jiu-jitsu and wins a decision as well. But my prop for this fight is going to be Bruno Brazil, submission, plus 1,400. It's a little bit of a lottery pick, but let's make some money. Oh boy. Next fight, Battle of the No Chins. We have Vyacheslav Borshev versus Tom Nolan. And Santislav coming off of a pretty good performance in his last fight. So is Tom Nolan. Both of these guys are known for being good strikers, long, rangy, and extremely chinny. This is kind of a pick'em. I saw Tom Nolan trending as a slight underdog. I think I like Tom Nolan better in this fight. Not only do I think he will have a slight striking advantage and also a range advantage, he'll be able to strike from a safe distance if he's able to implement his range well, because I do think Borshev has slightly better striking skills. I do think Tom Nolan will have a pretty big advantage on the ground. So if you can get him around that 100 mark, either slightly in the minus or slightly in the plus, small money line bet on Tom Nolan would not be a bad call. So I'm going to rock with Tom Nolan for this fight. Next fight, we got last fight on the prelims. We have Jack Jenkins versus Gabriel Santos. This is a great fight. Gabriel Santos, the most recent tough winner versus Jack Jenkins. Very big prospect from down under. It's on a good little winning streak right now. Very strong striking in Muay Thai. The biggest challenge for Santos in this fight is going to be the leg kicks coming from the side of Jenkins. Santos has shown something of an inability to deal with leg kicks in high volume. However, there are so many advantages going to the side of Santos, specifically from the grappling standpoint, that I just think he'll have far more paths to victory here. I think he has more power. I think the striking in the hands is comparable. I would give the kicking game to Jenkins, but I would give the grappling game to Santos by a mile. Jenkins is pretty durable, so I don't know if it's going to be a finish or a decision. If you want to get risky with Santos, I would say bet on the submission, because that's probably the biggest gap in skill. Is going to be their grappling abilities. But personally, I'll be using Santos on the money line at a minus 230 or 240 as a pretty confident parlay piece. All right, on to the main card. Jake Matthews versus Francisco Prado. I am going to take Francisco Prado as an underdog. He's had a great career so far. He's 12-2, young guy, got great hands, very durable, extremely athletic. And Jake Matthews, he's kind of like Michael Johnson for me. He's good when he should be bad, and he's bad when he should be good. He fought one of the guys from my gym, one of our teammates, Matthew Semmelsberger, and Matthew Semmelsberger was a plus 450 that fight, and I made a boatload. I definitely bet on my teammate out of bias, obviously, like I always do, but I mean, the guy got knocked down 5 times. Jake Matthews is incredibly inconsistent. I also think he's one-dimensional. I think he pretty much just heavily relies on his boxing, and if that doesn't work for him, he's just kind of screwed. So at underdog odds, I will take Prado all day. Just nice little money line bet there because obviously it's still a bit risky, but I'm gonna ride Prado on the dog money. Next fight up, we got a light heavyweight bout. Jimmy Crute coming out of retirement. He was in the past in the UFC rankings. And Rodolfo Bellato, who we haven't seen since his UFC debut against Ihor Potieria, where he was on the brink of losing that fight, managed to get his grappling going, got a great sweep, got in the top position, and then knocked Ihor Potieria out cold. Rodolfo Bellato is extremely physically gifted. He looks like he has a second chin under his chin, too. I mean, the dude's just a powerhouse, a juggernaut. But there is what to be said about his skills, and they leave a bit to be desired. Ihor Potieria just got cut because we all know he's not very good, and he was piecing this guy. On the flip side, we have Jimmy Crute, whose body has been broken. He's had several surgeries on his knees, on his back, and he was retired, and he's coming out of retirement, but he has a skill level of the highest order. You guys will hear me say skills pay the bills, but Father Time is undefeated. Yes, Jimmy Crute, if you just look at his stats and his age, it doesn't seem that bad. He's only 28. He's actually the younger fighter out of the two. But the guy retired. The guy had tons of surgeries. The guy had tons of injuries. His body is plagued. And this is a combat sport. There's skills, yes, but then there's who's the better fighter. And I strongly believe in this fight, Rodolfo Bellato is going to hold that advantage to a very high degree. And if Rodolfo Bellato bullies Jimmy Crute too much, I think he'll be able to break him. So I believe the odds right now are about minus 150 on Rodolfo. I'm probably going to use that as a money line bet as well. All right, we're down to the final three. Really excited about this next one. I can't believe this guy, his first fight in the UFC, Tyson Teixeira, he's going to be featured on a main card, but good for him. He's fighting Justin Tafa at heavyweight. We know heavyweight's pretty lean these days outside of the top 5, so it looks like they're looking to move him straight into the rotation very quickly. Justin Tafa is like a Samoan freaking Derek Lewis. Not very skilled, huge. Actually, the first UFC fighter to ever miss the heavyweight line. Interestingly enough, he missed weight for a heavyweight fight. It's never happened before. And Tyson Teixeira, who we recently saw in Dana White Contender Series. He's got a black belt in jiu-jitsu, 6'7", 80-plus wingspan. Pretty talented with the hands. Striking defense leaves a lot to be desired, and that's going to lead me into the pick. Tafa is extremely durable. I do think tit for tat, Tyson Teixeira wins this fight, but the striking defense is extremely concerning. Tafa is one of the hardest hitters, not just in the UFC, but let's just say in UFC history. I mean, the guy literally hits with the force of a 300-pound man. If he gets Tyson Teixeira with a clean shot, which we saw him get hit with a few clean shots on Contender Series from, let's be honest, what was probably just a fat, out-of-shape light heavyweight, he's going to clean his clocks. And I just don't see Tyson Teixeira putting Tafa's lights out. Tafa's just a tough SOB. Just like he's built like Tuivasa. He's just a tough motherfucker. So we're going to go with Justin Tafa, and we're going to take a prop bet by knockout as well. Tafa should be trending as a slight underdog, and the prop bet for knockout should be around plus 200. All right. Co-main events. Oh, boy, am I excited for this one. We have the champion, Weili Zhang, looking amazing coming off of her last few fights, with boasting a beautiful, immaculate record of 25-3. She will be fighting longtime contender who's finally getting the title shot that she so long has deserved, Tatiana Suarez. Tatiana Suarez, past winner of the Ultimate Fighter, currently 11-0. She's absolutely ran through the division, and she's choked 3 UFC champions out during her pedigree here in the UFC. Guys, I'm betting the house on Tatiana Suarez. I usually keep my gambling to around $100, $200 a card. As much as I love this stuff, I keep it for fun. $10 here, $20 there, $30 here. I put $300 on Tatiana Suarez last night. $250 on the money line and $50 on Tatiana by sub. Zhang has looked amazing. I think some people are looking at her with rose-colored glasses. Her biggest weakness on this earth, her kryptonite, is going to be Tatiana Suarez. Do you guys remember the Rose fight? you remember how badly she got held down on her back, literally unable to move? Rose ain't even a wrestler. Rose is a jiu-jitsu girl. This is a wrestler who qualified for the U.S. Olympic team. She was one of the best collegiate wrestlers of her time. She's got 3 submissions over current UFC champions. She is absolutely elite, not just in wrestling takedowns, but in MMA takedowns and MMA wrestling specifically. And Zhang is amazing on the feet, and she's good enough on the ground. And a lot of her offense relies on getting those key takedowns. If you look at the Yang Xiaodong fight, a lot of her offense relied on getting those key takedowns. There will be 0 offensive wrestling opportunities for Wiley against Tatiana Suarez. And Suarez has some good hands of her own. And not only that, Wiley, yes, gets by a lot of the time on superior physical advantage, but Suarez is the freaking She-Hulk, man. She is the freaking She-Hulk. I'm pretty sure I'm a big dude. I weigh close to 250. I've been lifting weights for 10 years. I have no doubt this chick can bench press more than me. I mean, her freaking jaw looks like it has biceps. I am so high on Tatiana Suarez, I can't even tell you guys. I am going to put the house and then some more. I want to put more money on her. I might throw another $100 on her. I got her great odds at plus 215, but I still have to make another bet at the minus 120 mark because that's how confident I am in her. I'm going to say something pretty extreme. I'm going to compare this situation. If you had the opportunity right now to go back in time and bet on Khabib at, what was it, like minus 180 against Conor, minus 170, that's what this is to me. Tatiana Suarez, nobody knows her name because she's inconsistent as far as fighting, but she is the best female grappler in the UFC today by a long shot. And she is going to run through Wiley Zhang. I really hope I'm not wrong about that one. Anyways, next one. Dricus du Plessis versus Sean Strickland. My favorite fighter, your least favorite fighter. Let's talk. Guys, I'm just going to go straight out here and say this. This is a 50-50 fight, just like it was last time. I thought Strickland won the last fight. Dana thought Strickland won the last fight. Everyone thought Strickland won the last fight. I don't think there's going to be a ton of changes here. I would like to see Strickland, when he hits those switches on the wrestling exchanges, have a bit more of offensive grappling, maybe log some control time himself. I think that would be an easier path for him to win some of those rounds. If we see the same striking from him and a little bit better grappling, that should be enough considering how close the last fight was. Something that Eric Nixick's been talking a lot about on Media Day. And from du Plessis, I just don't think there's much calculation to du Plessis' style. I think he just has more heart than anybody except maybe Strickland and more determination, and he's just tough as nails, and he just goes in there swinging and banging and just kind of fights on the fly and fights very well like that. So I don't really know that there's much for him to change. I think this is kind of in Strickland and Nixick's court right now. Because it's such a close fight and Strickland came out as pretty heavy underdog, all things considering. The last I can't read what the line says on your screen here, but the last I checked the line, it was around, I think, plus 170, plus 180 for Strickland. I'm just going to ride the dog. It's 50-50 fight. Strickland, obviously I think he'll have the advantage on the feet, as he usually does. And he's a very underrated grappler. Yeah, du Plessis got 4 or 5 takedowns last time, but he only logged 2 minutes of control time in the entire fight. Strickland basically hit the switch and stood up every time. If he just hits the switch and has his own offense from the top, he can log some control time of his own, and I think that alone will be enough to sway the result, assuming it's a similar fight to last time. So I'm really, really excited for rounds 6 through 10 of this fight. I am a Sean Strickland super fan. I'll flex my my wife got me for my birthday, my autographed Sean Strickland UFC worn gloves. So definitely a little bit of bias coming from here, but here my rationale, 50-50 pick, go with the odds that pay plus money. And I think I have something a little special for you guys now. Paulo, you ready for me? There we go. We got the Cloud Bet Parlay of the Week, baby. And shout out to Bubba. He helped me come up with this parlay. And we're going to go with the Patriot Parlay. We're going to go with the 3 Americans on the Aussie card. Number 1, Cody Steele. Phenomenal grappler coming out of the UFC Apex grappling system. He's got 7 wins, no losses in MMA. He's coming for number 8 in Aussie. Number 2, Tatiana Suarez. One of the best female grapplers, in my opinion, in UFC history. I think she's going to show that on Saturday night. I think she's going to be too much for Wiley on the ground. I predict a sub, maybe some ground and pound. We'll see. Tatiana Suarez for pick number 2. Number 3, your favorite fighter's favorite fighter. The guy I'm voting for president in 2028, Sean Strickland, to bring the belt back to America, baby. Let's go.
where am I at? There we go. Let's fucking go. I love that. That was beautiful. Shout out to Parlay of the Week. I told you it's crazy when you sent me that and I had to make it up. Well, I had to not make it up, but like make the graphic. I told you I took that same parlay. I love it.
Patriot parlay, baby.
I love Zhang. I love Zhang. I love Zweli. She's amazing. I agree though. Her grappling is not the best at all, and Tatiana's is absolutely there. Also, I think Sean Strickland won the last fight too, so I'm definitely putting my money there. And Cody Still, why wouldn't you go with Cody Still? He just looks fucking amazing. So, also too, I want to say Prado, somebody you were talking about. Prado actually used to train at Goat Shed.
Really? I didn't
His
know
last fight, yeah. So I was just looking through his Instagram too, because I haven't seen him in any Goat Shed content. He switched to American Top Team.
Right, Coconut Creek.
Yeah, he's at Coconut Creek now with those guys over there. So
Marcus Perez.
yep. So yeah. So his last fight was at UFC Mexico City. I was at that one. And he said, "What's up, bro? Bias is okay. We all have it. Facts. We're all Strickland fans here. I'm sorry. You thought I didn't like Strickland?
I still make my. Well, you hate Duplessis, so you're biased.
No, yeah, I hate Duplessis. Yeah, I'm not. I don't hate him anymore. I just didn't. I didn't really like the whole King of Africa bullshit he
Never
said.
gonna stop teasing you about that though.
Yeah, but yeah.
But no, listen.
He alright now. He alright.
As long as you can rationalize your argument, don't focus on the biases. Attack the rationalizations.
Exactly. And it's definitely a pick'em. I agree. It's a pick'em. Like if you have to argue that if there's an argument there that Strickland could have won that fight if it was different judges, then it's a pick'em in my opinion. You know what I mean? Like that's why we're getting a rematch, because there was no defining moment where they were like, no, Drickus is just way better than him. It was none. Because that's why it's gonna be what it is. But shout out Pickers. Like I said, every week he does this shit for y'all, man, helping y'all get this bread. It's completely free. We don't charge y'all for shit. All we ask is if you hit that boo button and you hit that boo button, because if I say it, they're gonna demonetize us. So I ain't gonna say it. But you know what I mean. Hit the and the you feel me? And if you're on Twitter, appreciate you. Like, you know what I'm saying? Hit the bing bing and retweet it out. You can do all the things, man. But what a great show, man. Episode 21.
What's a Twitter?
What's a Twitter? Oh, X, actually. Yeah. Sorry, Elon. This is why my shit always getting under review and everything. Yeah, Elon, like, say the name right, bitch. Say the name right, bitch.
He's watching right now.
He's watching right now. But yep, shout out my co-host, MMA Pickers. My guy been here with me since day one, man. Every time. He was sick last week.
Fridays.
Yeah, he was sick last week, and that was the only time he's ever messaged me and said, like, yo, I can't come unless he had to do a flight. So shout out my boys showing up every week. Shout out my other co-hosts too as well. They're here if they're able to as well. We're all busy. Everybody here does something else. This is something we do on the side. We plan on making it a full-time thing, but right now we still got other shit to do. So I appreciate my co-hosts giving us their time. Also appreciate our sponsors for helping us out. Shout out Brave Browser. Shout out Karate Combat. That's the home team on both sides. Love the guys over there. I believe in the visions on both of them with Brave Browser and what they're doing with security and just helping us search the web safely and enjoyment. And with Karate Combat, what they're doing with combat sports and technology, I think is beautiful. So love to have those sponsors, man. I'm grateful to have 21 fucking episodes in a book, bro. We're over the 20 mark, bro. We got 21 episodes in a book.
We're gonna have more than The Simpsons soon. Let's go.
Facts, you feel me? Like, once we start getting this thing going, we might be able to do this maybe 2 or 3 times a week when we don't have to do other things. But for now, once a week, and we're gonna bring it to y'all. We're gonna bring the heat. We appreciate everybody that's showing us love. And to this point, man, I think the viewers, you guys are the most important. So shout out y'all. I'll have the standalone videos up. Pickers' bets hashed out, if you're watching this back. Well, it's too late if you're watching it back now because you already watched through it. But yeah, whatever. We love you guys. We'll see you on the next one, and that'll be next week. You're going to Denver for Karate Combat, right?
Hopefully.
Okay. So more than likely, I need to plan ahead for that. I think we're going to do that show on maybe Tuesday or Wednesday. Cool. Depending. I'll already be there. I'll be there Sunday. So I'll have to do the show from Denver. So we'll figure something out. Yeah, we'll figure something out. All right, but we love you guys, man. We'll catch you guys later, man. Hopefully you have a great weekend. Be safe. Don't do nothing stupid. Don't do nothing I wouldn't do. Well, actually, Don't do nothing Pickers wouldn't do.
Bet the house
All right.
on Tatiana Suarez.
Do that for sure, man. Team USA the fucking out. That's why I wore the red today.
Yeah.
You know what time it is. America, we out, baby.